This is the Blood Red podcast from the Liverpool Echo, giving you the inside track on all the big talking points from Anfield.
Hello, welcome to Blood Red podcast, coming to you from Liverpool City Centre on this Monday afternoon with the Liverpool Echo, and it's a Monday after Liverpool have gone through to the FA Cup fifth round this weekend after beating Brighton and Hove Albion 3-0, joined by Paul Gorst and Ian Doyle to talk about that. I'm Mark Jones. I always forget to say my name at the beginning of these things, but I've just done it.
Just in case you remember.
Just that is me. But first of all, we're gonna start with a word from our sponsors, and we'd like to get to actually one of two sponsors today, and it's our good friends at NordVPN and their app, which can help you with things like protection for your data whilst travelling and using public Wi-Fi. NordVPN protects you wherever you are in the world. NordVPN also has a threat protection feature that protects you from viruses, malicious malware, phishing sites. And these features are across 10 devices with one account. For more benefits, more information, you can download NordVPN app to your device and click the link in the podcast episode description box below. I think that's all done. So we're going to.
It's a household of devices, isn't it?
It is a lot of 10. Have you got 10 devices?
No, well, I mean, it's for one. Obviously, if you've got quite a lot of people in your house, then I'd imagine you're probably easily getting through.
And you want them all to be safe. You want them all to be safe.
You definitely want them to be safe. Unless you want to cut loose one of your lesser family members. I wouldn't do that though.
You want them. You want to treat them all equally. You want them all to be safe, and that's why you need NordVPN.
Get on board with Nord, as we say.
Absolutely,
Anyway, Nordies.
Yes, the Nord person of the week as well. We never did that.
We just used to do it once a week, and then we just forgot.
The clamour for us to bring it back was.
So is there a reigning champion? You just forgot.
Well, it was just sort of like who gets the Nord Player of the Week or Person of the Week or whatever.
I think I won it once, didn't I?
Probably, yeah. I think you had a lifetime achievement.
Anyway, should we talk about some football?
We'll have to, I guess. Yeah.
Liverpool played at the weekend, and they played Brighton in the FA Cup. Well, let's tell you what. We'll start at the beginning. If that makes sense. You sent me when the team came through. You sent me the team on Saturday night, and that was like I thought, okay, that's a very strong side, and it shows how Liverpool treat in the FA Cup now, and it ended up in a very pleasant Saturday evening at Anfield for everyone.
Yeah, it makes a change, doesn't it? Liverpool having games won with minutes to spare. Count on probably one and the amount of times they've been able to do that this season, but it was relatively straightforward. We spoke, didn't we, on Friday, Doyle, about how strong Arne Slot was going to go, and my hunch was that it was always going to be pretty much as strong as possible, really, given the no game for 8 days, albeit coming off the City game and then the Sunderland game. But if you could just get through that Brighton game, it offers a chance to rest and recuperate and get everyone back and ready to go again, sort of maybe Tuesday or Wednesday of this week now. So yeah, it was a strong team, and it was a team that delivered, in fairness. Curtis Jones at right back, of course, but I thought Szoboszlai was excellent back in midfield. Mo Salah, one of his best performances of the season. Kerkez is getting better and better by the game. Kanate and Van Dijk, excellent at the back as well. So, everywhere you looked, there was positive things to talk about and things for Arne Slot to admire, really. So, yeah, a good win. And now we await the draw for the fifth round, don't they? And I do think Liverpool probably should, and I think they are taking it a bit more seriously than last year. I mean, this time last year they were knocked out by Plymouth, weren't they? And I don't think there was too many who were that bothered, really. It was a bit of a disappointing, almost a bit of an embarrassing result, really. But I think everyone knew the Premier League was still in the gaze, and the Carabao Cup final to come and the Champions League to come as well. So I don't know if there was too many tears shared over that one. But this year feels a bit different. It does offer a path to some sort of salvation for the season itself, and I think you can tell from Arne Slot's team selection that he's maybe feeling a little bit along those lines.
Yeah, I'll be honest, as I say, you sent me the team on the first, it's literally the first name you see, but Alisson, and I thought, okay, that's different, because you would have expected Mamardashvili to play in an FA Cup side. We've seen him play in the cup ties this season. I'm sure he wasn't very happy about not playing, but was there an element, you think, with the fact that there was no game the week before, no game this week coming, so it's kind of keeping Alisson in rhythm, but also showing the importance of what is now an important competition for Liverpool this season? One of you. I don't mind which one.
No, it's yourself, yeah.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I guess so. I mean, you're looking at it now, and there's not many opportunities for Mamardashvili either for the rest of the season. So
you'd be surprised if you saw him anyway.
Yeah, but I mean that's no major thing. I mean, I'm sure he will want to play more, but he's obviously here for the long term, isn't he? And what is he, 25? His best years still ahead of him as Liverpool's goalkeeper, sort of post Alisson Becker. But yeah, I was pleased to see Alisson back between the sticks, and still a little bit shaky with his distribution for me, but he made 2 or 3 really important saves. One at the very end of the first half, one in the second from Dunk.
The Dunk
that
one,
would have been a tap-in, wouldn't it, for Van Hecker, I think, had he not been there. So yeah, a number of really important interventions, really, which can sort of get lost in the analysis of the game when you're talking about the players who played well outfield, the goals scored and all that sort of stuff. But had he not made that save, particularly at the end of the first half, that go in at 1-1, and Liverpool are kicking themselves and the game's wide open, isn't it? So yeah, a little bit shaky with some of his passing, but his goalkeeping was first class as it normally is, and I think it probably shows you how serious they are taking it this season. The fact that Van Dijk started, Alisson starts, Salah starts, and I think Ekitike would have started had he not been, pushed to the limit against City and Sunderland.
In terms of the outfield players, again, team comes through and you're looking through and you think, okay, so Curtis Jones at right back as opposed to Szoboszlai. We know the right back position has been a revolving door of injuries and all sorts of things this season, but were you surprised to see Jones put in there instead of Szoboszlai, given the both are on the pitch?
Not really. I was more surprised that Jones was put there instead of Joe Gomez, but then it's obvious now that Joe Gomez is being kept back so he can play at centre-back because he's going to be needed for some games, especially when the Champions League gets going again. So I suspect that's what that's going to be. We went to Alisson. I think it's the first time he's played an FA Cup game since January 2024. He's only played 10 games in the Cup. When you bear in mind that in that time, I know Liverpool get knocked out quite early quite a lot, but did he get to one final and they got to the quarter-final a couple of years ago when they got beat by United 4-3. So they have had a couple of runs, but yeah, I would like to point out that I was absolutely fuming when they got beat by Plymouth last year.
Was you?
Yeah, I was absolutely livid with it.
Well,
totally.
Because it was a 500-mile round trip for us.
Okay, well, that didn't help. Yeah. I mean, and by the way, they are getting Norwich or Southampton or someone like that away from home in the next round, 100%.
That's about the best thing about Saturday, getting rid of someone from very far down south.
And so yes, I wasn't happy last year. So this time around, I always think the FA.
Do you know what? I reckon I said when we were on our way home from Plymouth last year, I reckon you'd go, I don't know why everyone's bothered.
No, what I did say was I'm not so sure why anybody's surprised that they got beat given the team he picked. That was a bit different, right? And I do think that he should. Arne Slot. I don't like it when. I understand that there was a lot of games happening at that time, but Plymouth away,
it was strange.
We're talking about a game that happened a year. Yeah, let's just talk about the Brighton game. Yeah. And there you go. There's the difference. There's that. Okay, then also Liverpool probably need to play stronger teams in the league now compared to this time last year, because last year they did have this massive cushion where they could afford 1 or 2 defeats. Now they can't really afford hardly any if they want to finish in the top 4. So it's in a strange way, it means that they've actually got to go stronger in the league, and that's probably why they're going to end up going stronger in the Cup, because they want to keep the momentum going, because they're going to go stronger in the Champions League. So going back to the Mamardashvili point, unless Alisson gets injured, he's not playing again this season, unless they play. He's the worst team left in it at home in the next round, and then Mansfield at home. Then there may be an opportunity. But even then, I wouldn't be playing him purely because you know what will just happen. So
yeah, and as I said, the point of they didn't play a game in midweek. They didn't play one. They're not playing one this midweek. Yep. You want to keep the players in rhythm. And I know he's the goalkeeper and you're standing around, but that is the thing. They want to keep them in rhythm and keep them going. And Alisson, we know, has had his injuries, hamstring issues and things like that. Ultimately, he's the one. If Liverpool are going to get far in the Champions League, finish in the top 4, Alisson's going to have a big part to play in that, isn't he? So you might as well keep him going.
Well, there's not been many games where he's had to make big saves. We were talking about this the other week, weren't we? Saying that he's not really made any massive mistakes, but he hasn't really been able to make any saves because of the way the games have gone and the chances Liverpool have coughed up. But he was able to make one on Saturday, and we did make a massive. I'm not saying Mamardashvili wouldn't save that, but there is a reason why Alisson's the best one-on-one goalkeeper in the world still, no matter what you think about his past or anything like that. So it did make a big difference, and ultimately helped them get that comfortable win that meant that Gorst, he could file his stuff fairly handy. And it was
which is the main thing, really.
Exactly.
It is,
yeah.
I heard that's what Slot said to him before the game.
He says, listen, just make it life easy for Gorst. He's got quite a lot on today because Ian's not there. So, typical that, isn't it? The nice, easy game when I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Stay well, basically, is what we've learned.
This happened the other week when you weren't there for Newcastle. It was the same thing.
That's a good point, actually, yeah.
So you've both
maybe
it's
me and you,
You've thought about that? It is.
Exactly, when you play the big fellas up front and you don't get the results, you got to chop and change.
We tried talking about Curtis Jones, but then we didn't, so we better talk about Curtis Jones.
Do we have to?
Because he scored the first goal.
Yeah.
That was quite
a finish.
That was quite an important moment in the game. Brighton actually started all right, 10-15 minutes, and you thought, oh, maybe you are in for a difficult night. But then after 20 minutes, Liverpool got more involved in it. Gakpo disallowed goal. And then Jones pops up from right back. Left back crosses, right back scores. Haven't seen that for a while.
No, I mean, the one that jumps out at me was it Robertson against Salzburg all those years ago, 2019?
Was the one at City?
Was the
when
one
they
at
got
City?
beat 2-1, was that Trent? I know it was it.
Firmino
scored, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, I mean, it was a lovely finish from Jones because it would have been easy for them to snatch at that a little bit and put too much power on it, but he just cushions it in, doesn't he? Off the cross from Kerkez, and quite why he was there in the 6-yard box as the right back and Chiesa wasn't. It was a bit of a strange one, but I thought Kerkez played really well. And so did Jones when he was at right back. I'm sure it's not a position he wants to play very often, but at the moment with Frimpong injured and Bradley out and Gomez seemingly being wrapped in cotton wool, there's an opportunity there for him maybe, and at Endo as well, of course. So maybe there's opportunity for minutes there for him. And at a time when we know he is keen to play more, he sees himself growing in stature in that squad and wants to be playing every week. Maybe this is an opportunity for him now to build on it. Particularly with Szoboszlai almost being a bit wasted at right back. I think it's almost common knowledge now that he's probably been Liverpool's player of the season, isn't it? Dominik Szoboszlai, and almost feels like he's being, because of his versatility, he's being, hampered from starting in the middle of the park, and I thought he was really good on Saturday night as well. So yeah, just everywhere he looked, there was loads of things to be positive about, and there haven't been too many nights where Liverpool have performed as well as that and come away with a comfortable, convincing victory of which they were fully deserved. So yeah, just another step in the right direction after a good win on Wednesday night against Sunderland.
You mentioned him briefly there, obviously heavily involved in the goal, Kerkez for that first goal. Really impressive performance. He got up and down that left-hand side. Feels like he's someone that we often talk about because he almost encapsulates kind of what's gone on this season, that kind of difficult teething problems. But he looks like the player that Liverpool signed now, doesn't he?
He does, but before we go any further, can we just mention his facial hair?
We can.
I mean, what's going on there?
I mean, he's an interesting looking man, isn't he? Anyway, he's an interesting looking man anyway, I think.
I mean, there's quite a lot going on the chin, but it's like there's a bit of a moustache and that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, I know he's trying to
there's
be...
There's a lot on the chin.
Exactly. I think he's trying to be the GOAT, but he's literally taken it...
Do you think he's trying to copy Van Dijk?
I was thinking that myself when I was looking at it, but are you going to tell Virgil that he's got... No, I don't think so. No, it suits him, yeah. Not so sure on Kerkez. Anyway,
he's good at football though. Go on.
He has been good at the old ball foot.
Yeah.
He's an interesting player in the sense that he was in the Premier League team of the season last year, and I didn't see a lot of him play for Bournemouth because that would involve me watching football, and can't be doing that. So when he turned up, he was I just remembered him playing against Liverpool where he just stood off Salah when Salah scored, for 2-0. It should have been a bit tight, and there was a little bit of that at the start of the season, but. Just on John Alderdy's column, and he made the very good point that there's quite a lot of the dynamics to his game are very much like Andy Robertson in the way that he can get up and down the pitch. He likes putting a cross in. Admittedly, I'd probably say he's probably better at crossing than Andy Robertson is. Probably not quite as good as defending as Robertson, but I think that's something you can work on. And
that's the thing that caught the eye at Bournemouth, isn't it? Like there was one, was it Tottenham away? I think he played for Bournemouth.
Yeah.
And there's another one maybe at Newcastle, and he can just deliver. And you saw it again Saturday. He can just deliver it.
Yeah, from more than one position. Yeah. I mean, a lot of been made of the fact that at Bournemouth he got down to the byline and put it across, and more or less kind of the way that the goal came against Brighton. But he can do it from deeper as well, which is kind of was Robertson's forte as well. He was good at that kind of crossing. But also, if you're a fullback, the main thing is to defend. And I think he's got a lot better at that. Interesting, Arne Slot said, didn't he? I think it was after the Sunderland game, or probably actually, I think it was after the Sunderland game before this game, that he was asked about Kerkez, and he said he's very, very good at one-on-one. And it was very early in the season. Liverpool played Arsenal. I can't remember who's playing on the winger. Was it?
Madueke.
That's it. Yeah. And there was one thing happened very early in the game where he kind of almost got beat by him, but got back.
That was it.
And then after that,
and then people were like, "Oh, that was a shaky day for Kerkez for that one time."
That one time where he actually got back and sorted it anyway.
He played really well against
Arsenal.
He did. Yeah, exactly. And that kind of underlined what. But unfortunately for him, he ended up playing a lot in a team that was absolutely hopeless for about two months. And as one of the newer players, you haven't got anything to judge him by in the past, which can obviously sometimes, if you look at someone like Salah, he was judged against stuff that's happened in the past, and I know we're going to get onto him in a minute. But for him, there was no kind of point of reference, so people were going, they spent 40 million on this player who had one half-decent game against Arsenal, and now he's not very good. But fortunately for Liverpool, unfortunately for him, he's not just the only example of it, but every single player that they've bought in the summer who's been available recently has proven exactly why they got bought. And then we look at them from a different point of view. Now you go, Aldi 22. You go, Ekitike is 24. 23. Wirtz is 22. Leone, we haven't seen much of him. Frimpong's 20. He's 24, isn't he? Frimpong's 24, possibly 25 now.
Yeah.
But
Jeremy Jacquet is only 20.
He's not playing for Liverpool yet.
No, but clearly it's
yeah,
lower the age range of the squad. And
well, the thing about all of these, though, is the ones who are playing at the moment are showing that they have already improved as Liverpool players, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I don't think possibly some of them haven't got to the level they've been at other clubs in the past, but that just goes to show that they can go on. And it's funny, isn't it, that they're the ones that have kind of been, certainly with Wirtz and Ekitike and to a lesser extent Kerkez, they've been pushing the team forward over this recent run that, for all the talk of Liverpool not playing particularly well, this, that and the other, since they played Arsenal, and I wrote something about this yesterday, and just before the Arsenal game, he was asked, Slot, in a press conference, so people call you dull and boring, what do you make of that? And he says, well, I find it hard to disagree with that. Since then, I think they've scored 25 goals in 9 games, is it? And before that, they'd scored 21 in 17. So it just shows, I know 6 of those 9 games were at home, and 2 of them were against Barnsley and Karabakh, but they're exactly the opponents that Liverpool weren't doing anything against earlier in the season. So I think that there has been that kind of change, and it's the new players are the ones that have kind of dragged them up out of that, because they've started performing more to the level that they were bought for. And while you always expect a bit of adaptation, I think for other reasons, other stuff that's gone on at the club, it's taken a lot of them a lot longer. But now, if you see a team with Ekitike, Wirtz, Kerkez and Frimpong, no one's batting an eyelid, are they?
I think I like about Kerkez is he's someone who you'd want in the trenches, isn't he? He's he's full-blooded, he's wholehearted, and he absolutely gives everything. And it's been interesting watching his relationship develop on that side of the back four with Van Dijk. I remember seeing them in pre-season training, open training, and I remember Van Dijk giving him a bit of a scolding for going to ground too easily. And it was almost like, we don't do that here type of thing. And I've watched them ever since, and not a game goes by without Van Dijk giving him a little bit of a rocket. And he seems like the type of player who might benefit from that kind of leadership through games, playing him through the games. And he's got great energy about him. He's very good technically. He went really close, didn't he, in the first half. The good save from, I was going to say Lewis Steele and Jason Steele.
He'd fill the goal.
There was one where he sort of sent a couple of them with a dummy and the shot, and the Gakpo was in the way and he was offside. But he's just improving game by game, and I think having Van Dijk on that side, when you're new to a team with the demands being sort of through the roof from what you compared to, with respect to Bournemouth, I think that's probably helped him massively as well. So it's there was a couple of months ago where I was almost arguing that Robertson is still Liverpool's best left back, but I think in recent months, Kerkez has shown why they were so keen to bring him in. They signed him relatively early on in the window, didn't they? And clearly a player who they had a long-term interest in, and feel that he's going to be the left back for the next 5, 6, 7 years.
And the knock-on effect from that is because Kerkez has got better. When Robertson's come in, he's improved. He was good.
He was good
against Sunderland. So I do think that is an example of 2 players very different stages of their career, very different stages of their Anfield career, let alone the overall career, that they're pushing each other on, and which is probably a reminder that Liverpool will need, if Robertson goes, a left-back, because I can't see Tsimikas staying.
No. We'll come to the second half in a second, but we have a second sponsor today, and so we're going to take a bit of a time out. You can have a breather.
Can we have a little
half time. Have a little chat with yourselves. Yeah. Improve for the second half, please. And we're going to thank our show's second sponsor, Saley. So what is Saley? Saley is an affordable, easy-to-use and sustainable eSIM service that gives reliable mobile internet connections from anywhere in the world. It's got built-in cybersecurity features, which I know are important to you, Ian, like web protection and malicious ad blockers. I don't know why. You can switch your virtual location to anywhere in the world. You can access content from all around the world. If you're abroad, if you're
in witness,
if you're anywhere, you can access content from all those different places. So, for more benefits and more information, you can download Saley in the App Store. And if you do so, you can use our promo code, which is provided in the podcast episode description box below. And at checkout, you get 15% off your first purchase.
That's good, isn't
it?
You always want 15% off.
You do. Further details, you go to saley.com/bloodred. So please remember that.
When would you not want 15% off?
It's excellent offer.
Your pay rise, there you go, there's one. You would want 15% off that.
Off what? So you
pay rise.
You wouldn't want that. No.
If you want 15% off your pay
rise.
Yeah, I know that's kind of an alien concept to us, but, apparently in the outside world, that's what happens.
Oh, I'll have to check that. But well, I'm not sure.
Take your word for it.
Yeah. We'll go back to talking
about... I read
it
on the internet, so it must be true.
Did you read it with the benefit of NordVPN and saying...
Yeah, before
I did, actually.
HR meeting.
Yeah. Anyway...
What were you referring to? Anyway, go
on. Anyway. The second goal was lovely, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Do you know what? I was delighted for Cody Gakpo, actually, because it was a brilliant pass to Salah, who just cushioned it into Szoboszlai's path. And I mean, I don't think Gakpo's had a good season at all. I think he's been ordinary, but the amount of stick he's been getting has been crazy at times.
We need to be careful, and I'll tell you why. Because I got asked that question, didn't I? In our question and answer, and then somebody aggregated me saying,
"Did you defend him?"
And I just said I just thought some of the abuse was borderline disgraceful.
It's become weirdly cool to have to Gakpo out and not leave. But anyway, it was a great pass, lovely little cushion ball by Salah onto the rampaging Szoboszlai, and what a goal! What his 10th of the season, and it was a really good, one of Liverpool's best goals of the season, really. And I missed it in real time. I looked up and Szoboszlai was just striding through and smashing it home. So I missed the build up to it, but it was one of the best. Well, certainly the best move of the night, but one of the best goals of the season that I can think of, anyway. Yeah,
the pass from Salah was great, wasn't it? To be that sort of cushioned first time pass, didn't have to break stride, did he? And he's ran on, and the confidence that Szoboszlai has at the minute, he's going to strike that. You know how he's going to hit it, and it was just a lovely goal to effectively put the tie to bed, didn't it? Really.
Well, that's 10 goals of the season for him, and there's very few of them that haven't been.
I was going to ask you this. I mean,
exactly.
I guess we've got to go back to sort of Coutinho times with the last kind of midfielder for that number of goals in a season.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 4 free kicks, hasn't he? Arsenal, did he score against Arsenal, Brentford, Marseille,
and
City?
It's
not Brentford, sorry, Bournemouth, Marseille.
Bournemouth, yeah.
That's 4.
He
got 10 goals. Where the others?
He scored one against Leeds. That was a lovely move.
That was a nice one. That was a nice one. Yeah, there's that one. Brighton.
He got the one in the 4-1 defeat to PSV.
That was a decent-ish goal as well, wasn't it? Good finish. Yeah, that was a good finish. Yeah, and 3 other goals.
3 other goals, of which that was one. And
but he has been. Again, I had to laugh when I saw. I know that. What time is it? I mean, there's a story coming out, isn't there, about
now?
Yeah, about Alexis. Manchester United wanted to. Oh, sorry, Manchester United looking at Alexis McAllister, probably in the same way that Tranmere Rovers looked at Lionel Messi, and when he's quite good. And going back to what I was going to say is that Dominik Szoboszlai over the weekend, obviously now that he's become flavour of the month, Mohamed Salah came out and said he's the best player this season for Liverpool. Suddenly Real Madrid paying an Real Madrid through Marca, who's the unofficial
Marco
spokespeople.
Rossi as well, by the way.
Yeah.
Why is he getting involved?
Yeah, because he's probably he's doing an interview, wasn't he, with Marca, and so he's probably just thrown it in there because he probably wants to be manager. He wants to be manager of Real Madrid. Yeah. So
they all want to go Real Madrid. Everyone does.
Yeah, I don't. We've had this.
Vinicius Junior got asked for some reason. Some YouTuber did like a 24-hour thing with Vinicius.
Oh, really?
Basically, just in his company and getting to know him a bit, and he asked, what players you speak to that are from Real Madrid, and he named dropped Szoboszlai. He said we met when we were younger. I'm not too sure where that might have been, but it feels like
Vinicius Junior to Liverpool. Then is that what we're saying?
Well, yeah, it feels like
they've noticed that he's not signed his 2.5 years.
It just feels like this. The old Real Madrid thing just seems to start earlier and earlier, doesn't it? Each year, and the way they just name drop players as often as they can, as gently as possible, and just that. It's like the water drip effect, isn't it?
I mean, how much, if he was to be on the market in the summer, which he's not going to be, how much would he go for? Over 100 million.
Yeah,
Real Madrid are not going to pay that, are they? Because they never do.
75-year-old. By the summer, he'll have 2 years left on his contract, so there's no danger of that. He's a Hungarian captain. He's had his best season for Liverpool. He's won the Premier League. Let's see what happens the rest of the season. Yeah, I think that's probably a fair assessment of his value.
Yeah, 150 million.
Was we 150? Yeah,
just might as well. Just Real Madrid,
you might as well,
yeah.
But my point is that Real Madrid aren't going to pay that. We know that. What they're going to do is they're going to sit around and wait for his contract to run down.
Or what they'll do is they'll put any player who wants to join them. Will just put a lot of pressure on them. Say, come on, sort something out with the club. Because the reason I mentioned McAllister before is because we both believed that for a long time that there was a very good chance he'd go at the end of the season to Real Madrid. Now, because he's not played his best season, although he was actually fairly decent the last couple of games, now they've set their sights on Szoboszlai, and it's just so as Gorst has mentioned, it's so transparent.
Yeah,
it's we know they're doing it. It's so obvious. It's weird though. It's very much a Spanish and certainly Real Madrid and Barcelona thing. We never would do that for Liverpool or Everton at the Echo. You
don't have these big build-ups.
Regional newspapers don't do that.
No,
for clubs, because essentially we're not the spokespeople for the clubs, are we? We just report on them as opposed to report for them.
You don't have these big, years-long build-ups, do you? You have Isak went on all summer, but it was quite a specific case, wasn't it? It was a bit of a tug-of-war. Wirtz, you sort of knew a month before he was coming. Things like that, they do build up, but it's nothing like this.
No. And, I think Szoboszlai said a couple of times now that he'd love to sign a new contract at Liverpool. In conversations I've had with people, he seems to really enjoy living in the northwest. I think his neighbours with Haaland, isn't he? His good mate.
Yeah, good friend.
He really enjoys being at the club and is very grateful for what they've done for his career. So, yeah, I mean, let's hope it gets sorted out, because the form he's in at the moment, he's probably able to almost name his price, isn't he? Because he's, these are his peak years that are approaching at the end. You'd say sort of 25 to 30 for a player like him. Just, he got a bit of everything, hasn't he? So technically gifted, but is one of the fittest players in the squad, which enables him to keep that level of technique sort of late on in games. That's why you're able to see him make that kind of run in the second half and put it away the way he did. How he's able to score that goal against Man City with, what was it, 12 minutes remaining or whatever, Arsenal, that was, wasn't long left in that one either. So, yeah, he's got a lot to his game, and he's grown in importance at Liverpool, hasn't he?
He's become a symbol of the sort of new side, isn't he? And you go back to last season, I mean, you think about him on the pitch, don't you, at City, which was the game when everyone thought that's pretty much done now, and he was exhausted, and the running he never stops, does he?
Scored that one, yeah.
He's even in the season that this has been, for him to have as strong as he has had a season, you can just see him get better and better.
The alternative take on all this Szoboszlai stuff. I'm trying to pronounce his name correctly, by the way. We say Szoboszlai, that's not right.
What is it?
Szoboszlai, isn't it?
Szoboszlai.
I think that's right. Is that he's picked up the phone to the national team manager and said, "Here, can you just say this? Remind him about this thing about Real Madrid." And he's spoken to his big mate Vinny Jr. and said, "Here,
you're going to say Vinny O'Connor then?"
No, is it? No, that's Hannah's big mate. And say, "Come on, mention this because he's got a new contract and he wants a bit more money." So I don't know. No, that's just me being a cynical journalist, which by definition you are a journalist. You are therefore cynical.
Yeah. Speaking of contracts, Mo Salah has just over a year left on his. He scored a penalty. He played really well. They're different types of performances these days, aren't they? The Mo Salah performances than we used to see, but you could. And when he scored, there was a bit of a relief almost to it as well. I thought he played well, and I thought he showed why. I mean, it feels like ages ago now, doesn't it? When he was out of the side, and you're chat with him at Leeds, but he showed why he needs to be in the team now, and he played well. He delivered when it mattered. You know, the penalty to put things to bed. Can he sort of take this on now? And I mean, he's in the team, isn't he? You're not going to drop him at the minute.
No, I mean, Doyle, you mentioned the amount of goals they've scored in the last however many games it was, and I don't think it's a coincidence that that's happened since Salah's returned to the team. And you know, he's only scored 2 of them, I think, but it just gives defenders something else to think about, doesn't it? Something, you know, a Mo Salah to worry about, as opposed to Szoboszlai. He was playing out there at times. He was maybe tasked with filling in midfield as well, and certain things. So yeah, I thought to win the penalty, it was brilliant. It was, you know, vintage Salah, because there was absolutely nothing on when he's got his back to goal, 40 yards out, and he just spins Kadioglu and takes him into the box. Too strong for him, muscles him out the way, and then who is a Pascal Gross who takes him down, and it was a penalty. Picks himself up, dusts himself down, buries it, and then he's celebrating in front of the cop, and it was just a really nice moment, and a little bit of a reminder that, you know, perhaps his demise has been greatly exaggerated. He's not going to, you know, this will be the season where he scores the fewest amount of goals as a Liverpool player. He's probably not going to finish as top scorer for the first time in his Anfield career, but that doesn't mean that you're a busted flush just because you're not sort of the absolute best of the best. So, yeah, still got a lot to offer, and he's going to be really important for the rest of the season now, and particularly in that sort of form. You know, Liverpool are going to win more games than they lose with him playing like that.
What was that stat you told me before about the penalty?
I'm just trying to double check it, actually. I'm just been trying to double check it.
What, the amount of goals they've scored?
No. It's about the last time Salah was awarded a penalty.
You said to me this morning it was Cardiff in 2019.
But I just saw someone mention it. I don't know whether that was a joke or what, because it's just seemed a long time. I've just, by the way, just seen that Keith Hackett, friend of...
Who does he want sent off now?
No, he wanted Salah booked for diving for the penalty. So even when he gets given a clear penalty where he gets legged up...
He wanted Gakpo booked the other week for a similar thing.
Yeah,
he likes that.
I think he's got a slight, you know, he's in danger of coming across as though he's got a bit of an agenda. And as someone who's quite outspoken on social media, the last thing you want to do is give an impression that you're biased one way or another, because people don't like that very much.
It was the third time that Salah has... I don't remember the stat. I've won a penalty and scored
and got an assist
in his Liverpool career, and the other 2 games came back to back in 2018, I think it was, at Newcastle and Arsenal.
I'm saying he's at his peak.
Yeah, I mean, it's a strange statistic, isn't it, to be able to do all that in the same game, and Salah's now done it 3 times, and yeah, it was one of his better performances, wasn't it? You know, there was the one where he gets in behind Kadioglu in the first half, and the shot's a little bit tame, but yeah. I thought just all game he was just a little bit of a threat, and that's what I mentioned before about him. You know, him just being in the side just worries defenders a little bit more than it would any other player, I guess, being out there. So yeah, the good thing is you haven't got to worry about resting and rotating him, have you? You know, he's proven season in season out that he can handle the schedule. So he'll be playing against Nottingham Forest on Sunday, and yeah, more of the same, Mo, I guess, is the message.
To just touch on one more player who started the game, because I know you've written about him today, and I've seen a few comments about him. Federico Chiesa got a start. He's someone who there's a lot of... We spoke about the talk around Gakpo. There's always a lot of talk around Chiesa as well. Put in from the start to play up front, obviously with Ekitike on the bench. Playing in that central role from the start. He never quite seems to be able to make the impact that he does off and off the bench. It was a difficult night for him, really. I think you saw that there was perhaps a lack of pace, which we know he used to have in abundance, didn't he? And these injuries that have taken that away from him. It was a difficult night for him. He worked hard, he always does, but it was tough for him. Yeah,
it was, yeah. And, you know, that's only his 9th start as a Liverpool player in, you know, nearly over a season and a half, and only 2 of them have been in the Premier League. And I think it's becoming increasingly obvious now that maybe this was a little bit of a gamble from Liverpool. You could see the upside to it when he joined. You know, if they could get him back to those sorts of levels that he was at when he was at his best in sort of 2021 before the knee injury, then it could prove to be a pretty shrewd move for Liverpool. But it hasn't quite worked out that way. And, we talk about players for the big occasion. He's almost a player for the small occasion, isn't he? He's very much a squad player who fills in cup games and dead rubbers and stuff. And there's absolutely no shame in having that status in a Liverpool squad. But maybe at the age of 28 now, he's feeling that there's more things that he could be doing. So let's see what happens now in the summer. But yeah, it doesn't feel like this is one that's quite worked out for Liverpool. And he does provide a bit of depth to that forward line. But it's tough when you're not starting much and you're coming in and you're being asked to perform instantly, to catch the eye, to give yourself a better opportunity of more consistent run in the team. But yeah, I don't think he's taken many of his opportunities as rare as they are this season. I don't think he's taken many of them, has he? And you can see why Slot perhaps favours other players in that position. Even when Salah was away for a month, I think he only started the one game, didn't he, which was against Wolves on the 27th. And don't particularly remember him pulling up any trees in that one.
Could have got sent off, couldn't he? That's what I mainly remember about that. He elbowed someone in the head. I'm sure Keith Hackett was all over it.
The Salah thing was nonsense. You can tell I was off on Saturday. I just wasn't really paying any attention to what was being said on social media. So, yeah. And where your spidey senses, you go, that
these things, right? Yeah,
that can't be true.
What was it? The first penalty he's won?
No, it's just nonsense. I mean, he's won 9 penalties in the last 5 years, but the last one wasn't since November 2024, Real Madrid in the Champions League. So I don't know when his last one in the league was.
Which he then missed. Yeah, that one. Yeah. Just on Chiesa, because we were talking about it before. It looks like you'd think it's more likely than not that he would leave in the summer, but he's going to need replacing, isn't he, in the squad? And at what level do you think Liverpool are looking at to sort of shop to replace someone like him?
We were talking about this, weren't we? And you're getting. Really, it's going back to the days of when Jota was coming in, because you had Mane, Firmino, and Salah, and a lot of players didn't want to take on the responsibility.
Yeah, it was brave, wasn't it? It was brave of him to do
it. Get into that three, and he took it on, and he ended up. We know what kind of career he had at Liverpool, but now it's slightly different because they are going to need somebody, but somebody who knows quite well that they've just spent a fortune on Isak and Ekitike, and they're probably going to play most time. And you've got Wirtz, who can play in one of those 3 positions. And we don't know what's going to happen with Salah. We don't know what's going to happen with, say, for argument's sake, Gakpo at the end of the year. But we know that Liverpool are looking at a winger as such, or a versatile forward, because they love the versatile forwards. Most of the people that they've brought in, they always make a big play of he can play in multiple positions. Gakpo was one. Ekitike was the most recent one. Isak wasn't, because they know what he can do. And Salah, to a certain extent, he's a right winger, although he has played up front, but it's been a while since he's done that. In terms of just as the one, I know he's with the 2, wasn't he, with Ekitike recently? But yeah, you're looking at someone at those kind of mid to lower Premier League clubs, probably, if you're looking for a Premier League player. But even then, they're going to be quite pricey, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get loads. Like, say you sell Chiesa back to Italy, you're probably only going to get what you bought him for anyway, aren't you? So it's going to cost Liverpool a bit if they're going to go for that similar sort of profile of a player who is quite known, experienced, and an international.
He's not going to be too old, though, is he? We were meant to say he's going to be like 24, 25.
Liverpool don't actually make many. They don't sign many squad players, did they? Certainly last summer, everyone they bought was with a view to by making the team better, and then consequently, whoever was in the team sort of becomes a squad player as a result. So I think Chiesa was probably the last one they bought, who was clearly coming in to be a bit of a backup squad player, which is absolutely fine. But Liverpool don't sign too many of them, so what is going to happen in the summer with that forward line? I think it's going to be interesting, because I still think they are one short there, aren't they? Even allowing for this idea that you don't want to sign anyone on the left because Rio Ngamo's path is going to get blocked. But, Ngamo's barely featured this season, and he's only had Gakpo ahead of them. So, yeah, I do think Liverpool needs someone there. It's just a case of whether they're going to go for first team, big ticket player, or someone of similar profile to Chiesa, but not sure who that would be at this point.
When you look at Liverpool when they were at their best under Klopp, which was between 2018 and 2022, they had loads of players. Yeah. Even if some of them, such as Keita or Oxlade-Chamberlain were injured for a long time.
Minamino and Origi were the two.
The January when Diaz signed, it was
well,
really tough, wasn't it?
Origi was somebody who obviously inherited Klopp, and I think the players that Slot's inherited, that would be squad players, they sold loads of them last summer. I'm talking the likes of Quanta and Morton, someone like that.
Assets driven, wasn't it?
Because they wanted to bring in these big signings, which, to be fair, the ones, as we mentioned before, they've all done really well. The ones who've been available, certainly this time of the year. But you just do need some more players, because if you look at the academy, the players that the positions that they need improving are not the ones where the players at the moment are going to be coming through from the academy. Certainly not at the moment. I watched the under-21s yesterday. They beat West Brom 4-3. And you could tell that Anioni and Ngamoa have been training around the first team and playing first team games, because they were easily the two best players on the pitch by a long way.
I want to see Naoni get more of a chance. I was hoping he'd play against Sunderland, to be honest. I
saw that,
Yeah, well, it's a bit of a wild shout, I know, but I thought, given the issues that were in the side, I thought you give him an hour with no Szoboszlai and you can ask him to run around and put the energy into the side.
We've spoken about him recently, where you can play him as kind of the number 10, or in the more... When young players come in, they're better played more forward or playing right at the back. You don't really want them in the middle, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Unless they're absolutely exceptional. Because even if you look at someone like, Jamie Carragher, when he came in, he played defensive mid, but he had loads of players around him. Gerrard, when he came, was played right back, didn't he, in his first game?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was, okay, they're two very exceptional. Certainly Gerrard, the kind of player who was always going to make it no matter where he came in, but even they kind of weren't given that kind of massive responsibility, which is, I think, if someone like Anioni comes in and plays defensive mid, which he did against Crystal Palace in a team that was completely, changed around, it made it hard for him. So I think when he's coming on, he just has to be in games that they're winning, such as Karabag, where he had a hand in Chiesa's goal, or like with Ngamoa, he came on against Brighton and should have had a goal, shouldn't he? So that's the thing that Liverpool have been missing. Slot said this all the way through. I think that's what by the pair of them were in the squad in the first place, because he thought there's going to be some games where we're winning and we can get them on and get the minutes, then he can build up. So they're probably about 4 months behind where they thought they were going to be, because I don't think Liverpool expected to lose quite as many games as they have this season.
Yeah, and I think there may be a little bit of an acceptance at the academy level as well. They had a really good talent pool, didn't he, for a number of years, and maybe that has started to dry up a little bit. We watched them loads, didn't we, in the youth league a few years ago, and it was great, watching like Kwanzaa develop, Conor Bradley and Ben Doak and Tyler Moore, and 3 of them have moved on, and Bradley is now a first team player. But you look at now, and like you say there, they're bringing in Naoni and then Ngamoa, who were less than 24 hours having played to the first team.
The goal was great when I was just see his goal. Yeah, really good.
Yeah. Kelleher, Curtis Jones, Nico Williams got a career at Forest, playing obviously in a World Cup for Wales.
He did,
yeah.
So it's I mean, just given what they did in the summer, feels like they got rid of a lot of those types of players, and there's not that many coming through now to boost the transfer coffers. But essentially,
again, almost all of them wanted to go.
Oh yeah,
they weren't getting the minutes, and I think that's the thing that perhaps under Slot is probably going to change. Maybe next season he always says that he wants a small squad and he wants to play the same 11 all the time, but I think what he's kind of realised over the past 18 months is, you can do that, but you can make changes if you have players of a certain standard. And over the last, it's certainly the Premier League era, Liverpool's best squads, you'd argue, is 2001, 2019 and 20, and then a couple of years later, 2022, and of course that's when they nearly won the league and Champions League double, won the league the following year, nearly did the quadruple 2022, and then in 2001 had, that season where they won 3 cup competitions. That's not a surprise, because they had to make so many changes. I mean, you could argue from a long-term point of view, there's kind of like sweet spots, because players want to play, unless you, as you mentioned before, Winston Bahada, who's not fussed. 1-1 for the older people there. They want to play, so there comes a point where they can put up with that for 1 or 2 years, then they go, I'm quite fancy trying something new. And that's probably what happened in the summer. But what Liverpool didn't do is they didn't use that money to spend it on 3 players. They spent it on 2 twice, so you're already 2 players down straight off.
Yeah. I made this comparison with Arsenal. You know, say both Liverpool and Arsenal spent 300 million in the summer, and Arsenal probably got 5 or 6 players with that, and Liverpool got 3. Ekitike, Isak, and Wirtz. So it's just how you look to prioritise it, isn't it? And I do think Liverpool's squad is still relatively thin given the money they've spent on it, and that obviously goes back to the amount of players that they sold and the number of players that they brought in. So yeah, it's one of those where they do need to sort of beef up the numbers this summer, but Liverpool haven't tended to be a team who've bought squad players, if you like, whereas Arsenal last summer, you know, someone like Christian Norgard, for example, or Christian Mosquera, these players you don't really play too often, but they're
playing against Wigan,
beefing up the numbers, and they're on the bench most weeks, whereas Liverpool have had 2 goalkeepers on the bench for the last 3 or 4 games. So yeah, there's something to look at this summer. You know, how do you basically beef the squad up without signing a load of players who probably aren't good enough?
Finances come into it as well, obviously. I do think with Arsenal, I think they bet against their future as it were on. I don't know which way around that would be. But that they are going to be successful, so they took certainly.
It's like a win now, isn't it?
Yeah, they took them, massive punt on a lot of players, and they should be walking the league, but they're not, which is a surprise.
Every time I look at the table, they're not as far ahead as I think they are.
They're getting closer and closer and closer.
Which really surprised me.
I still think they'll win it. If they don't, as I said, any time they've got to disband.
Premier League returns obviously the weekend. We'll be back before then, I'm sure. Before then, the FA Cup 5th round draw will be this evening as we record.
Norwich or Southampton away.
Well, I'm just looking at who's in it here. I googled the 5th round draw. It's taking me to Chelsea's website, weirdly. So good SEO from Chelsea. Very good SEO from Chelsea.
They got an 8-year contract with
Google for the search. Looking at who's the furthest south. Southampton. Yeah,
furthest east would be Norwich.
Can't
get any further west.
Got no idea where is Mansfield. I don't even know.
Midlands, is it?
Oh yeah. Oh, they played there, didn't they?
Yeah,
they played there. Suarez handballed it.
Yeah. No.
Well, no,
accused him on
he was accused of handballing.
He kissed his wrist, and everyone thought that it was a slight. Yeah, he was very much.
Oh, he just covered. Yeah.
With their interesting owner at Mansfield as well. Yeah,
I think I remember that as a story. Yes.
Sturridge's debut.
Did he score?
About 10 minutes.
I do remember that now.
2013, that's when it was.
But we started talking about it. The FA Cup as a whole is there.
It's better than the League Cup.
It's better than the League Cup.
It is. How can you say that the League Cup's better?
We have this every
I know
season.
Exactly.
You don't interfere with the schedule of the league. You get to see players you don't really see very often.
We haven't even done the very exciting VAR thing that everyone always talks about either.
What's that?
Rio Wungamora had a goal disallowed. Probably should have been a goal.
But you know what it was? Because it was a little bit of a mistake from the officials.
Yeah.
And I can handle that. Fine. I'd rather that than just moaning about
the Villa one was worse. You see the Villa one?
Yeah.
Tammy Abraham was just
Newcastle
offside.
would have...
Like, it was never onside. Yeah. It's like, I remember the goal. I actually saw that and went, that's quite clearly offside. Oh, they're giving it.
Oh, yeah. I think it's made the refs a little bit lazy, though.
Oh, yeah. The one, the handball in the Villa game as well. Yeah. The handball, unbelievable decision.
Outrageous decision.
Yeah.
Still,
I would rather be talking about that than talking about VAR.
Yeah, no,
I think it's a little like old friend turning up, wasn't it? Just having to go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Just having bad
Just have the refs to know. Oh, a human being made a mistake because they're a human being.
Well, the Premier League is back at the weekend, so there'll be more VAR to talk about then.
Do we have
excited? Yeah, we
do. Who are you saying they're going to get in the draw?
It's
by the way?
Contractually.
I'm definitely going Norwich away.
Norwich away.
I'll try and get out and go.
Given it's taking me to Chelsea's website, I'm going to say they'll get Chelsea.
You're going to say
Chelsea.
Do you think it's a
home? Yeah, I'll take anyone at home.
I mean,
just because this means I don't have to go anyway.
On that, we'll okay, thanks to Ian, thanks to Paul, and we'll be back soon.
You've been listening to the Blood Red podcast from the Liverpool Echo.